Hi, this is Ellen Dudley with Keller Williams Realty. I am here with Tony Chiarelli from Landmark Associates General Contracting today. How are you, Tony?
I'm great today, Ellen. How are you doing?
I'm great too. Thanks for being here with me.
I appreciate the opportunity. It's always good to talk to you.
Of course. Tony, tell my viewers a little bit about your company.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you. So, Landmark is a general contracting firm. It's based out of Hopedale, Mass, which is out where 495 and the Mass Pike kind of come together. And we are a remodeling renovation general contractor. So we typically will work on projects of where existing buildings or existing properties need to have work done to them, more than new construction, which is something we've done and we can do, but more of our work is more in restoring existing properties, doing rehab work, things like that.
Great. So mostly commercial or commercial and residential?
Both, actually. It's interesting. The company got started with the interjection to do work from insurance damage claims. And the first job we ever did was renovation to a condominium building after a fire. And from there, it's kept going with water damage jobs and things like that. And then we cultivated the company with other places. So we've done work in commercial offices, industrial buildings, condominium buildings, and naturally people's homes.
What
And
kind of, sorry, go ahead.
And then that just kind of spawned more opportunities. So we got away from the insurance work, and then from different people, certainly, property managers, insurance claims people, and then homeowners would refer us to their friends. So the business just kept expanding from there.
So with homes, which is predominantly my business, and the people I know are buying homes and renovating them, tell me the scope of the types of projects that you like.
Typically, we're best suited for, they don't have to be giant projects, but nothing that's really super small. Like sometimes when people are buying a home or they're selling a home, they just need, a little bit of a touch up here, or like to change out one toilet or something along those lines. The jobs are too small for us to be service oriented for those clients. But if somebody wants to do a full rehab on kitchens and bathrooms, or anything on the exterior or interior of the house, we can oversee those projects, especially when there's multiple trades involved, like when there's an electrician and a plumber, carpenters. We're best suited to help your clients to manage these jobs so that they're not trying to juggle all the different pieces. That's what we're good at.
Okay. So tell me why you're different than every other contractor out there.
Well, it's interesting. One of the things that we keep hearing from people that makes us different is that we actually return phone calls. There's a reputation for contractors, for whatever reason, that they don't return phone calls. They're hard to communicate with. They're unreliable. All the different negatives that go. I mean, it's like there's always people like that in every profession. So it's a somewhat unwarranted to stereotype us that way, but it seems that the simple things that we do is we communicate very well with the clients, that we lay out expectations with them after we understand what their goals are, what they're trying to do. Then we let them know what we can do, what we can't do, or maybe try to guide them away from things that maybe aren't going to be in their best interest. So keep them away from painting themselves into a corner, so to speak. So sometimes somebody wants to do a project, but they know they're going to do a second project in 2 or 3 years. We want to warn them that by taking the first project to a certain step, you may have to undo 25% of that project in order to achieve the second project they're going to do. Maybe make them realize it might be better for them to bundle that together now, which is not a way to upsell them. It's to give them an understanding that they realize that the second project is going to have an added cost to it because you're having to undo stuff from the first project, and maybe try to pick a different point of ending, or a different point of demarcation, so that they don't have to undo as much when they come back. Things along that nature. So we're always trying to help the client more in a partnership to get to the end game, where it's not an adversarial thing where you have to be careful how much money you give us, and we have to be careful we don't do too much work before you pay us, where it's develop that partnership relationship out of the gate and just keep moving forward together. It's focus on the goal and not so much all the little pieces along the way.
Sure. And can you tell us about a recent project that you've worked on, something that's just been interesting for you, you know?
Yeah, so this relates to, in one sense, to homeowners and people like your clients, but it was in a condominium building. So the 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 project was was originally a high school in Reading, and they had a fire, and a portion of the building collapsed in on itself. So we had to rebuild, reframe the whole outside of the building. But then when we came inside the building, there were 40 units. And because of the way it was configured, it was not like a new construction where the units are all the same, cookie cutter style, easy to do. What we ended up having was 40 individualized homes that we had to work with the property manager and the homeowners on their finishes, and working with the architect as well, but working on the finishes, documenting everything, making sure that they got everything the way it was supposed to happen through the process. So simultaneously working with 40 different people over the course of about a year and a half was interesting. So it's one of those things where we developed the systems in house that we can work with anybody on any sized project. I think that's the thing that's interesting that I like, is that we can be completely scalable. So depending on what somebody has, if they've got multiple projects or multiple buildings, like a real estate agent like yourself, you'll have multiple clients. There's no fear that we can't handle multiple things at the same time, because we're well versed at it.
That's great to know. And how has your business changed at all in the times of COVID?
Um, it's been like an ebb and flow. It was interesting that right before COVID, we landed some work that was one job was exterior, and we were able to maintain doing that project. And then with the guidelines that came down from Governor Baker that in April, that changed all construction from being essential to just stuff related to housing or infrastructure and whatnot. We were dealing with two jobs that had to do with both of them were fire related projects where people were displaced. So the building permits were able to get released because they were like considered emergencies because people were out of their homes. So that one of the jobs was actually in Boston, which was very strict about letting jobs happen. So during COVID, we had work, but what happened was for about 8 weeks, people sat around and didn't plan. So things that they thought, and I understand it in some cases, if you're not sure about rent or income that could financially impact a project that you wanted to do, but you didn't have to do, that somebody was going to move that project off, maybe till next year, or maybe by 6 months. They want to see what their financial picture looks like. So instead of everything just continuing to flow the way it was, there was like a stop and start. So we were working, then we didn't have much to bid, and then right at the end of May, the floodgates opened again, and everybody that was ready to do stuff came around looking for work, for people to bid stuff. So we've been very active on bidding new work, and we've just landed several jobs. But so there was about a 6 week gap. So it seems to be back to normal, but there's still a lot of uncertainty about the fall. So where before COVID, the construction industry was saturated, there was more work than people to do the work, with no end in sight. I think now it's put a little bit of a governor on that people aren't as quick, in both commercial and residential. They're not as quick to pull the trigger. Certainly people aren't so sure about their employment status, and maybe they're waiting to do improvements on their house despite the market for like interest rates and refinancing and things like that, which would give them the financial capability to do stuff. And in other cases, people they see the opportunity and they want to jump on it right away. So it's a mixed bag of perception that's out there. I think that's the big difference.
Yeah, well, it is. I vividly recall it's very hard to get a contractor. I remember that very well. So I am very happy to know you and to be able to pass you on to people because I know that you're responsible and will get a quote quickly. What areas do you work in? All areas of Boston, Metro West predominantly? Where do you go?
I'd say everywhere inside of the 495 Beltline. So from where we are all the way in towards Boston, we work right in town, all through Metro West. We've got jobs up in Lowell as a kind of a reference point. We have jobs down towards the Canton, Stoughton area, Braintree, to kind of give you the bottom end. Um, you'd start to head down Route 3, but not too deep because it's just hard to get to. It would have to be a really large project where we're able to kind of situate somebody there versus because with the travel we can't be competitive with someone who's local or closer to the job.
Right.
Um,
Right. Okay, well, that's great. I thank you for being here. I highly recommend Tony, and we will put your contact information at the end. And if anyone's looking for a contractor, this is your guy. From big to small, he can do it all. Oh, I just made you a slogan.
I love it.
All right, thank
That's
you
great.
so much, Tony. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Ellen. Appreciate it.